Hey guys, welcome back to the Sullivan family. So I was going to start today's vlog this morning and I was going to do some more organizational, whatever stuff, but the day's not quite gone to plan. So I can hear footsteps probably coming to find me. Don't know. Anyway, yeah, nothing's really gone to plan today at all. And I was, to be fair, I was going to leave the vlog and not bother. But then I thought, no, because we see so much on social media of how perfect things go, and, you know, when things go well and we see, you know, perfect pictures of perfect houses, and as much as I love looking at all of that as well, sometimes it can be overwhelming, can't it? And you can think that, you know, everyone else is doing it right and you're getting it wrong. And anyway, so I thought, no, I'm just going to go and do this vlog anyway, even though it's not the vlog that I planned. And even though it's like nearly 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm only just starting. So I was going to sort out Flo's toy unit today. And I also need to measure the kids' feet, the younger one's feet, for going back to school. But like I said, it hasn't gone to plan. So, the twins are bouncing off the walls because we haven't been out the house for like 2 days. And as much as, you know, they've had stuff for Christmas, they've been playing with their toys. We did all the jigsaws yesterday, which they did enjoy doing. But they get to a point in the day and they start bouncing off the walls. The twins need stimulation a lot. They need things to do. They're not very good at just playing on their own. They never have been. It's probably linked back to them being premature. Obviously they've taken a while longer to, it's planes now, to catch up. Erin still has problems with her hearing, so that can kind of affect her behaviour sometimes. So anyway, they really needed to get outside today. They needed to go outside, they needed to go out for a walk. Obviously Ben's back at work now, so it's just me at home with the kids. Everybody needed some fresh air, so I thought, right, we'll go out for a walk this morning. Get some fresh air this morning, get everybody out of the house, and then we'll come back this afternoon, have some lunch, and we'll do whatever else needs doing. I really should have got the tripod because my arm's aching. So I knew Joseph might not want to go because obviously he's not liking going out of the house at the moment. So it's really difficult because you've got the twins who need to get out of the house and Joseph who doesn't want to get out of the house. And obviously I'm only one person. So anyway, the girls said, well, one of us will stay at home with him. And then he doesn't have to go. So that was fine. He was going to stay at home. And then he decided that he wanted to come. So we were like, right, okay, well, you know, if you want to come with us, you can come with us. That's fine. That's great. If you want to come out for a walk, it'd be really good to get him out for a walk. So I was going to walk to the post office, which is only open in the mornings sometimes. So I was going to walk to the post office to post a parcel that I had, and then nip to the shop across the road to get them some sweets for a snack this afternoon. It just did not go to plan at all. It was horrendous, to be fair. So Joseph decided not that far up the road. Really, I should have just turned back. I should have turned back and taken him home, but I didn't. Not that very far up the road, he decided that he didn't really want to be out for a walk anymore. And I said to him, do you want us to take you home? And he was like, no, I don't want to go home. So, right, okay. So Isabel held his hand, I held his hand, but every 2 minutes we had to stop because he was crying or something was hurting, or he'll find anything, you know, he's just getting more and more distressed. But of course, then you're out, aren't you? Then you're out and you're a fair way from home. So you've either got to carry on going, because we walk in like a big circle. So we've either got to carry on going so we come around the other way, or turn around and come back. So I was like, no, we'll carry on going. So anyway, we got to the post office, and by this point, he's pretty much screaming the place down, and he doesn't want to walk. So I said, right, I'll just nip in the post office. I'll post this parcel, then we'll go to the shop and we'll walk back up the road, because we're kind of in the middle of the circle. So whichever way you go, it's going to take you a while. So I stood in the queue in the post office, and all I could hear was him screaming outside. And obviously I'd left the older ones out there, and I thought, the queue was really long. I thought, I can't stand here because I'm going to be in the queue for like half an hour. So I abandoned the post office, which was the whole reason we'd gone out in the first place. I abandoned the post office and put the parcel back under. I said, I'm just going to have to post that tomorrow. Because every time someone opened the door, all I could hear was him screaming. It's just getting more and more distressed. So we left the post office, we went to the shop. So we screamed his way around the shop as well. So we got him some sweets. So we paid for all of that. And then we obviously had to walk home, but he didn't want to walk then. So he just sat on the floor. So then between me and Isabel, we had to carry him home because he wouldn't let anybody else carry him. So thank God I had Isabel, because he weighs a ton and he does my back in when I'm trying to carry him like that. But we tried to put him down, he just sat on the floor and cried and screamed. But the problem is, once you get him home, it doesn't stop. It doesn't just sort of snap out of it there and then when you get home, like, you know, maybe another child would. It carries on because he's distressed then. So he just wore himself out. You know, he was screaming and kicking and throwing. And in the end, I let him eat his lunch in the lounge, and he's fallen asleep on the sofa. No, so he's downstairs asleep on the sofa. And I had to let him go to sleep because he was just so distressed. I tried sitting with him and cuddling him, but then he just kept screaming Isabel's name. And obviously, you know, it's quite a lot of pressure on her when he's screaming her name. So I'm trying to sit with him to calm him down. It's just, I guess the whole kind of point of this vlog that isn't supposed to be about this is, you know, we're trying to figure stuff out at the moment with Joseph, and it's really hard. It's really, really hard. I mean, I feel like we have to learn how to parent all over again, because the way that we parent the others we can't parent him the same way. The same rules just don't apply. And it's really hard because, like, although the older ones understand, the younger ones are kind of like, well, why is Joseph allowed to do that and we're not allowed to do that? And that's the really difficult bit is, you know, because if they start throwing things around, they're going to get into trouble. But with him, he's not understanding what he's doing. He's having a meltdown. And I've tried to explain that to them. You know, he's not in control of his emotions at all. His eyes go like saucers. It's like he's scared. And you try and calm him down, and we're trying to figure out ways of trying to calm him down. And, you know, we've got the chart now, which kind of gives him his now and next, which we're probably, you know, we're not in the rhythm of using yet, because obviously this is all new to us. So we're just kind of muddling our way through with not really any help. Obviously we don't have a diagnosis for him yet, but, you know, I'm 99% sure, we don't need a diagnosis to know that, you know, he needs treating differently, and he is different, and that's not a bad thing. We just need to learn how to understand him and how to help him, because I feel at the moment like we're getting it all wrong. And when you see him get so distressed about something as simple as going for a walk, you kind of just think it's really easy to just go, do you know what was the point in that? Why did we bother going out for a walk? That was just a nightmare. But I guess we have to kind of try and learn from it. I mean, Ben messaged me and I sort of said, I'm never going out for a walk ever again. You know, but it might be something quite simple to most people, but walking is something that we've always done as a family and that we've always enjoyed. And it's something that he's done since he was little. And okay, I know he was put in pram for a lot of that, but, you know, during the summer and stuff, you know, there have been, I mean, maybe looking back, I'm thinking that he enjoyed his walks and maybe he didn't. Maybe it was just that, you know, he was little, so there was always somebody to pick him up and carry him, or he was sat on the front of a pram, or, you know, I mean, we got rid of our double pushchair because he was happy to be walking. And I mean, our double pushchair we gave it away because it needed some TLC, because we'd had it for quite a long time. But we gave it away because it had been sat there not being used for ages, because he he didn't really want to be in it. He was happy to be walking. But I feel like somewhere over the last year, something's kind of, I don't know, some things have really changed for him. And you kind of think to yourself, what has changed so much? When he did enjoy doing these things before, why does he not enjoy them now? And I guess I don't know if there's an answer. I keep trying to look for different answers for things, and obviously there isn't an answer. He just doesn't at the moment. Maybe it's because it's cold. Maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he's got used to staying in the house. Maybe it's because he just doesn't like being out and about around people. Maybe some of his fears have got more. I guess it's one of those things that he's just not going to know the answer for. But it's, in my mind, it's kind of like, telling myself that it's not. Yes, he might have liked doing that before, but now he's not. So there's probably nothing that we've done. It's just he's developing differently. And like I said, it was probably somebody always there to pick him up, or somebody's put him on the front of the pram or in the pram. I don't know, maybe, I don't know, you're looking back to kind of think of triggers and stuff, and we're trying our hardest every day to make sure he doesn't get to the point where he explodes, so he's not getting distressed, because it's just awful seeing him get distressed. But it's relentless. It really is relentless, because you're constantly thinking, don't upset him to the point where he gets distressed. And it's kind of a constant sort of, from the minute he opens his eyes in the morning, keeping him on side, if you like. It's a huge learning curve for us. And like I said, it's, we're trying to, it's like a whole new way of parenting. And some days I'm really struggling with it, to be honest, really struggling. I just want him to, we just want him to be happy. And some days it's like he's really not. And I mean, he loves Florence. Florence is the one person in the house that can calm him down, because he likes to sit with Florence and play with Florence. But then if somebody else comes along and tries to play with Florence, he'll go nuts. So it's so much new kind of territory to learn. And it's really hard as well, because it's sort of like the things that I like to do, like going out for a walk, something simple like going out for a walk, is now a kind of almost a major no-no. Something that I would have done with the kids, especially through lockdown. We used to go out for walks every day, bung them in the pushchair, go out for a walk around. Little ones would probably go to sleep. I've even contemplated buying another double buggy just so that we can get out for walks. But part of me is thinking, but he's going to be 5 this year. But then the other part of me thinking, yeah, but he's not. I really struggle with, I don't want to say not. So many people say, oh, that's not normal behaviour, but that's like saying, but he's not normal. But that's not what I mean. It might not be typical behaviour for a typical 5-year-old or 4-year-old, but he's not a typical 4-year-old. And when people sort of say, well, that's not normal, it makes me feel really bad, because that's, what is normal? What is normal? Just because his behaviour is not the same as another 4-year-old doesn't mean that he's not normal. It just means that he's different, and it's learning kind of, I guess, new ways of talking about it as well. He's not a typical 4-year-old. His behaviour isn't typical of a 4-year-old. And I feel like some days it's getting harder to deal with, because I feel like whatever we're trying to do is I just feel like we're getting it wrong. Do you know what I mean? But then every autistic child is different. Every single one is different. So, we've had lots and lots of people say to us different ideas and different things to try, and, we'll take all of it on board. But not everything is going to, what suits one autistic child isn't going to suit another autistic child. And I think it's just we're trying to find the best ways of dealing with things at the moment. And it's kind of in the midst of his behaviour being a lot worse. So yeah, it's really hard. So that was my my vlog was going to be about something totally different. And now it's just turned into that. So I thought I'd share with you my morning anyway, because obviously it was a little bit disastrous. We did finally get home, but at least they managed to get some fresh air. I guess you've got to take a little bit of a win from it, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to still try and do a little bit of the sorting out downstairs, so hopefully I'll get to film a little bit of that, but I just wanted to get all that off my chest, really. Okay, so I did measure the kids' feet quickly. So I used to obviously take them to clocks or wherever to get their feet measured, but number one, we don't have a clocks in town anymore. And I think they used to have feet measuring things in 𝚲𝚃, but I don't often take all of them out to be able to do that. So what I do, get a piece of A4 paper, stand them on a flat surface, and just measure behind the heel and in front of the biggest toe on both feet, because obviously you've got one foot bigger than the other, and it'll give you like the centimeters. I mean, it's not exact, obviously it's not exact, you know, if you want an exact width and foot, then take them somewhere to get them properly measured. But for me, it's just a gauge, as I kind of know what sort of size they are, and if they need a bigger shoe. Obviously I can feel their feet, but like trainers and that are quite often smaller in size. So sometimes some trainers, Adidas especially, I find you have to get a whole size bigger. So it's a bit of a minefield when you get in kids' shoes, because they're a certain size and you buy that size in trainer and it's too small. So obviously you have to kind of gauge by what their feet feel like in their shoes as well. But for me, it's just to keep on top of have their feet grown. Like Agnes's feet have grown 1 centimetre since I last did them in September, I think I measured them. Toby was saying the other day that his shoes were feeling tight, but in actual fact his feet haven't grown at all, so I think it was just because he had thick socks on. So yeah, like I said, I just get a plain piece of paper, measure behind their ankle, the back of the heel, and the front of their toe on both feet, measure it in centimetres or inches, and you can find conversion charts on, if you just Google kids shoe size charts, and it will bring up, they are varying, they do kind of vary. Some will say once, you know, they can sometimes be a size out, but you can kind of, I use the same one every time, so I can kind of gauge, and I always write down how many centimetres their feet are as well, so I know if they've grown or not. So it's a bit of a trial and error thing, but it's better than not being able to measure them at all, and it just helps me keep on top of what sort of size their feet are. Obviously the older ones, their feet don't really grow anymore, so their feet kind of stay the same, and Noah's grow all the time, literally all the time. He's a teenage boy, his feet grow all the time. Haven't done his yet, but Toby's, Leah, Erin, Agnes, they're in that kind of age range where their feet just grow really quickly. But at the moment their shoes are okay. I bought them trainers for school last time and they've lasted far longer than any other shoe, because they're always running around, so if they've lasted for ages, they do need to clean before they go back to school. But obviously it's not an exact science, but it does just help a little bit, just to kind of keep on top of it without having to take them all out to get the feet measured. But obviously for Flo, we'll probably take her and get her feet measured for her first pair, especially because you know, their feet, I don't like putting them in shoes when they're too young. I know she's had a couple of pairs of little soft shoes on, but I don't like putting them in. I prefer to have them like run around the garden in in like bare feet or whatever when they're tiny, because their feet are still forming. So I don't like, I know she did get some trainers for Christmas as well, but obviously she's not going to be in them all the time. So it's kind of, I like them to have as much time out of their shoes as you can do when they're tiny, because obviously their little feet are still growing and forming. Anyway, this is the toy unit. This toy unit has got all the like baby toys in it. This is the one that I wanted to sort out. One of these is empty because we had some, you can't see my head, you had some foam blocks that were Agnes's or Joseph's, I think. We bought them foam blocks, but I hadn't realised that because they're chewing them all the time, a lot of them have gone mouldy, and I didn't realise. So they all got thrown out. So I'm just going to go through the rest of this unit, because there's some bits in there that are still fine, but they don't play with. So I'm just going to put them in for charity. So that Flo's obviously got a load of new toys for Christmas. So I'm going to be able to put some of her toys away. I've also got a box in the lounge of like real baby toys that aren't really suitable for, these are like baby toddler toys. I've got a box in the lounge that are baby toys, which have kind of come through everybody. I mean, there's even ones in there that were Elizabeth's that have been washed up time and time again, and just, you know, like rattles and stuff like that. But I'm not going to go through that today. That will be another day. But I'm just going to go through this quickly while everybody's asleep, while the baby's asleep and Joseph's asleep, and before Ben gets back from work, just to give it a really good quick clean and put some stuff aside for charity. Okay, so I'm finished. Had a quick sort through. Sorry, my phone keeps switching itself off. Had a quick sort through. These are the bits that, I'll turn my camera around. These are the bits that I'm going to put in charity, minus the sellotape, which I don't know why there, because Flo got a new one of these for Christmas. There's a new set of these that I want to get her, and those were Joseph's, so nobody really plays with them anymore, and they're all still fine, so I'm going to put them in the charity bag. But it has given me enough space now, so we've got that one, those bits, that one which they love playing with that, musical instruments, but then that gives me these two at the top which are empty now, so that I can put all her new stuff away in those. I've given it a little bit of a clean at the same time. I'll show you the rest of the room, because the rest of it is, we're halfway through doing the other unit that we started yesterday, but I'm waiting for more pockets to come, and it doesn't matter how many times I tidy up the pen side, it's still a mess. And there's stuff on the floor which still needs to go to the garage. But when Ben went to the tip last time, he couldn't drop the wood off, so the garage is still full of wood. So I still can't get to some of the stuff to put the other bits away. It's just so much to sort out. Anyway, we're making progress. So I'm going to put some of her new stuff away tonight when I tidy up. We're doing all right, actually. We have put quite a bit of the kids' stuff away. But obviously we've got birthdays coming up soon, because it's all the twins' birthdays. But I think we're going to get them a bigger something for their birthday rather than lots of little bits. I can't really say on here because they'll watch the vlog, and I want it to be a surprise. So yeah, we'll get there eventually. We'll get it all put away. But obviously we're kind of in the process of finding somewhere to live at the moment as well. Finding somewhere else to rent for a while until we can buy. And there just isn't hardly anything around. Quite a few people messaged us one place in 𝚘𝚃, but the room sizes are, although the downstairs is quite big, the room sizes are quite small. And obviously there's also no pets, and we've got Oreo, so that's a bit difficult. I'm sure something will come up, and it will all fall into place, but it's a little bit daunting. I think, you know, I mean, obviously we've known that we need somewhere else to live, but then you've got Christmas and everything else, and now we're kind of like, right, New Year. So our date for, at the moment, for leaving here is March, unless we can get an extension, which we've applied for, but we haven't heard back anything yet, just for 3 months until we get, there's just nothing to rent. That's the problem. There's nothing around here to rent that's sort of big enough for us all to live in. So yeah, it's a bit difficult at the moment. It's a bit of a, I feel like everything's a little bit up in the air at the moment. But anyway, at least my cupboards are going to be tidy. It's one good thing, I suppose. Anyway, like I said, the vlog didn't really turn out how I was expecting it today, but we kind of pulled something out there in the end, and it's kind of good to discuss little Joseph as well. It's all a big, massive learning curve, especially for me, because it's kind of the way that I've brought all the kids up. My whole kind of parenting life, it's kind of been turned on its head a little bit. I'm having to find lots of new ways of dealing with things, and new ways around things, and I'm finding it a bit of a struggle, if I'm honest, because kind of a bit of a, not a stickler for things, but you know, the way that we've parented so far has worked, and you know, everyone's kind of does what they're supposed to do, and it's worked so far, and now it's kind of turned everything on its head, and we're a bit like, okay, so this isn't working now, and how are we supposed to do this, and what are we supposed to do, and how do we make him happy, and how do we make sure that, you know, everybody's still kind of toeing the line and doing what they're supposed to do. And obviously it's having a little bit of an effect on the twins, especially because they don't really understand why, like I said, why he gets away with certain stuff that they wouldn't get away with. And it's just a bit of a learning curve, and I'm finding it a bit difficult, if I'm honest. To know the right way of, I guess there isn't a right way. I guess there isn't a right way, is there? It's just finding the way that's the best way for dealing with it that day. I think my own anxiety makes me want to, I'm very much a kind of person that likes to have places for things, and things fit there and that goes there. And in my kind of anxious brain, it's very much, you know, this works this way and this works this way, and that's how that works, and that's how we deal with that, and that's kind of how I deal with things in my mind. So when things kind of get thrown out of kilter, it kind of throws me totally out as well. I don't like not feeling in control of things, in a sense of not I'm in control of the kids in that sort of way, but you know, kind of when you've got a big family especially, you have to kind of have a bit of control in the house, otherwise it would all just go to pot. You know, and the older ones are part of that as well. They all have a certain amount of control in the house with the little ones as well, because, you know, they help out so much with the little ones that they have to have that kind of authoritarian control as well, if you like. So yeah, it's just kind of finding new ways. But I guess, you know, in some ways I'm documenting it for myself as much as for anybody else that might find it helpful. Because they're going through it, or they've got, you know, they're in it, or they've been through it, or they're going through it, you know, we're kind of all in this together, because there isn't really much help out there for any other ways. So kind of that's my thought of, you know, documentation and documenting it all as well. Anyway, I'm going because it's snack time. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, even though it's a bit off the wall today. don't forget to drop us a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I'm going to do lots more of these videos because it kind of helps me to talk about things, and a bit of organisational stuff and storage stuff chucked in there at the same time. So I'll see you in the next video.